a Christian preacher who was convicted and reported to the government's counter-terrorism programme after misgendering a trans woman has won his appeal. David McConnell was convicted of causing harassment, alarm or distress following an incident in June 2021. He's had his conviction quashed yesterday. David McConnell's lawyer, Michael Phillips, joins me now. So really good to talk to you, actually, Michael, because this is a thing that people say, misgendering, as though it's some illegal thing that you have done. Is it illegal to misgender someone to start with?
I would certainly argue it is not. There is no law in the country which says that you cannot misgender somebody. You have to use their preferred pronouns. There is no law which exists which says that. And so it's quite frightening that we're in a situation now that very often we have laws which on their at face value are good laws. They could be used in appropriate ways for drunks coming out of a football match or out of a pub, and there's a public order situation. But for these laws to be misapplied in the way in which they have been misapplied on this particular occasion and on other occasions is extremely disturbing.
So what law was it that they used then to even take this any further? Because to me it seems absolutely ludicrous that could get to a point where it's actually going into a court of law.
It is the Public Order Act, 1986. And so Section 4A of the Public Order Act says that if you use threatening, abusive or insulting words or behaviour which causes harassment, alarm or distress, and you do so intentionally, you can be guilty of an offence. And so, in fact, the word insulting was taken out of Section 5, but for some reason it's been left in Section 4A, which is quite concerning, because I think that, how can it ever be a crime to insult anybody? But the judge said, well, look, it's no crime to insult somebody unless you do it intentionally. So if, in this particular case, my client was found to have said something and the judge said it was insulting, however, he was just simply quoting from the Bible, and he was talking about his faith, which he genuinely believed in, and so in those circumstances, it could not be held to be a crime. But the fact of the matter is, it's frightening, because it's obvious that the crowd believed he should be arrested, the police believed he should be prosecuted, the Crown Prosecution Service believed that this was the right thing to do, and also a judge in the Magistrates Court as well believed that he was guilty of an offence. So it took going up to the Crown Court, which on appeal, for them to realise that this was not an offence.
What an amazing, incredible waste of time. I mean, I'm sorry, but it just seems like we're wasting our time. I mean, if you've ever seen the family courts and the mess that is in, the fact that they've actually got time to be dealing with situations like this is clearly, you could actually misgender someone by accident, and then for it to go, for this whole ricochet to happen, for it to end up in the Crown Court seems ludicrous, actually, in my view. What about the flag? There was an LGBT flag outside the police station. Am I correct? What was that about?
Yeah, so in fact, David went up to the police station where he had been arrested, he'd been taken a couple of years ago, and he went to revisit it. And outside the police station, they had this pride flag, which, is a political symbol. And it's very concerning, because a lot of people, don't necessarily agree with the ideology which is behind pride, And it's when this isn't necessarily something about LGBT people, because there are many people who I know that well-known people who will say, no, pride is one thing and being LGBT is another thing. There are people who are heterosexual who support pride, and there are people who are homosexual who don't like pride. So it is a political movement, and to align yourself so closely with it is to alienate a large part of society who do not feel comfortable with some of the things that particular movement has stood for.
You see, the thing with it, as you said, it's political, and political statements should not be made by police, because it's like taking the knee, it's like rainbow laces, it's all that stuff. I don't want to see it in my policing. I want to know that if somebody burgles my house, they'll be there and they'll catch the criminals. I don't want to see them showing how political they are or how much they have affinity towards a certain cause. I just want them to remain completely neutral and get on with doing the job. So what's the upshot of this then? So your client has been let go. This is nothing further. There's no further action, or may it move to something else? Are they trying again, or what's the outcome?
No, I mean, for this particular offence, he has been acquitted. That said, he can't be prosecuted for it again, and which is wonderful for him. But the thing is that it has a chilling effect on him, and even in court, people are afraid to use non-preferred pronouns because they're afraid that they may get into trouble with the judge, they may be in contempt of court, and so and I'm sure when he goes out next time, he's going to be fearful. He's going to be fearful that somebody else is going to make a report to the police, and he's going to have to go through this whole palaver again for being on bail and having to do community service, which is then overturned and so on. It's a lot of strain on an individual, and you can see that.
Well, listen, Michael, you need to make it your, David, sorry, you need to make it your mission to take out silly language in all this legal stuff and stop this going on. Hopefully, we'll come back to you and hopefully you sorted it out. That's David McConnell, lawyer. Thank you very much. Really good to talk to you. Michael Phillips. I was right, it is Michael.